Hello and welcome to the Imperfect Mum. Today I have Alison from the Incremental Shift, and we have had quite a lot of challenges to get this to work today. Actually, this is the second time. The last time I had to cancel as well because I was so overwhelmed by Christmas, and we decided
totally understandable. Christmas is a lot.
It wasn't. So that was one of my things. I was like, no, I'm not recording any podcasts this week to make Christmas a little bit easier. And then my kids got sick. And then this morning we couldn't get our tech. And I was just about to say to you, and I was like, no, this is good to record. I decided this morning that I was going to walk the long way home from the school run, so that just like I had minutes for me because I had a really busy day. And I started listening to an audiobook called Let Them by Mel Robbins. Have you heard of it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so good. It's so good.
I haven't read it yet, but everybody says it's so good.
Yeah, and you have to read it. And this chapter was just so perfect for our stressful, can't get online, because it was about the stress response and about how as soon as we get stressed, we stop using our prefrontal cortex, the rational part of our brain. Our amygdala sparks up. We start making all these irrational choices. And I could have spiraled into, oh my God, we're not going to get on, and then I'm going to be late for the rest of the day. And instead, I did exactly what Mel said.
Let them.
I let them. I was like, it's going to work out. I took 2 deep breaths, which stopped me thinking from my amygdala and helped me to start thinking from my prefrontal cortex. And I was like, just send her the link to the podcast on Instagram where we are messaging saying nothing is working, which was obviously the rational thing to do. And now we're fine.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. If only our little people could just be so rational.
Yeah, if only, that would be brilliant. I love when I say to my daughter, should we try like breathing? And she's like, doesn't work.
Tried it once, doesn't work.
Doesn't work. So, Alison, now that I have stopped with my rant, take a deep breath. How are you? What do you do? Let's tell everyone what you do, because you have 4 little people not listening to the Let Them theory.
I have four little people and 1 husband, and we are all ADHD. You know, we've all got things to work on, hey?
Yeah. So you're all neurodiverse?
We're all neurodiverse. We're all ADHD, ASD, twice exceptionals. So we are like just a bunch of crazy fruitcakes, but we all fit together and we love it.
And I'm guessing, as you're all neurodiverse, you all like things to go to plan.
Well, interestingly, some of us are more ASD, so we like things going to plan, and some of us are like more ADHD, energetic, like, woo, let's just, throw it all in the air and see what happens. So it can be very challenging in my household, for sure.
The 2 energies.
Yeah. Yep. And of course, so I'm the ASD, love my structure, routine. Yes, still ADHD in my thoughts, but of course I married the one who's the total opposite.
Yeah.
And loves spontaneity and loves just like, let's just fly by the seat of our pants kind of thing. So yes, it's always interesting.
And what do you do?
Yes, so I run a business called the Incremental Shift, and essentially I help parents to understand their neurodiverse children, but also if they have an idea that they might be neurodiverse, what do we do then? How can I help them? And so I run a variety of things. I have a couple of memberships and I do one-on-one coaching as well. And we just
kind of couple of memberships. So there's the ADHD side that likes lots of things going on because you've already got 4 children.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm releasing a podcast tomorrow because I'm like, I don't have enough to do.
Yeah. And that's actually me. Like, I don't know if I have ADHD. I think I do. And I like to do all the things.
Yep. Well, I had someone say to me once that they inherited it from their child.
Oh, they inherited it?
Yeah, from their child. So in terms of like they only learnt about their own neurodiversities when their child was diagnosed. And so it's
I mean, that's so common. So common.
So common. Yeah. But it's interesting because as parents, you go through the parenting journey of like, I just want to help and support my child. And then at this one pivotal moment, it's like, it's me. I'm the one who needs some help too.
What is the statistics around that? Like if your child has ADHD or autism that you do too?
I know with ADHD, if your parent has it, then it's more likely that you will have it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on the stats for
Yeah.
ASD, but if I look over my own family, we are like generations of ASD.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's got to be something in it for sure. And of course, like attracts like. So even in terms of like your friendship groups, you will often find that all of you end up going, oh, I just got diagnosed ADHD, because you're all the same, because you're attracted to the same people.
Yeah, because you like people, we like people.
That's it.
Like 100%. Like I'm very, like when it comes to attachment styles, I'm naturally really avoidant, and I look at my friendship groups and we all are.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't want to be friends with someone who like triggers you, would you?
Yeah, like we're not hugging. Like let's talk about feeling. We're getting better now because we have to, but like when we were younger, never.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've got four. How old are your children?
So 14, 12, 10 and 8, and they're all boys.
You are crazy. You're actually crazy.
Yeah.
So a lot of energy there. I'm tired thinking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of energy there for sure.
Do you have a big family?
No, neither does my husband.
Oh.
So we've each got one older sibling, but no. And my husband said he really wanted 4 or 5 kids. And
Oh, did he?
yeah. And when we got, because his best mate growing up was one of 4, and he just really loved that. And when I got to the 4th boy, I was like, I'm kind of done. Like, I don't know that I can do it.
I'm not going to go, girl. Like, I've got to give up.
But the ASD me says it had to be an even number of children. So if we went 5, we'd have to go 6. And like, that was way too many.
Yeah. My mother-in-law says you can't have 3.
Yeah.
She's like, no, you don't want a middle child. You can't have 3. So,
Yeah.
Because I would like to have 3. She's got 4.
I've got 2 middle children then, yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's like. You have to have, you don't want to have middle children. She's like, she says like she's got her daughter's slightly older, so she thinks my husband's like the middle child. Like,
yes.
She's like, you don't want Margaret.
Oh, love it.
But you like that like busy house. You wanted just like a bit, because you've had them every 2 years as well.
Yeah. Well, we lived regional, so we had no family around us too. And we wanted the boys to grow up with each other. If they couldn't have any extended family around, then we wanted them to have each other. And therefore, if someone didn't like someone else, then they needed a few other options to kind of hang out with and be friends with.
I'm so interested in when people have big families, like what the reason is. I thought I wanted to have a big family, but it's really expensive.
Yes. And I think, look, in all honesty, I think if I knew what I do now, we couldn't have afforded to have as many as we have.
Well, because it's just as they get older, it just gets more and more expensive, doesn't it? That's the thing.
It's like exponentially expensive.
Yeah, you think when they're little, but it's not. It's all these, like, because you're worried about nursery fees. I don't know what nursery fees are like because you're in Australia, and I don't know what nursery fees, but it's the clubs and stuff, and like all the things they need as they get older.
Yeah, and very quickly they are into like adult clothing and adult food portions and
yes. Oh my God, 4 boys must eat so much. You're spending a lot on food. I didn't even thought about food. A lot, yeah. So you are, but you're all neurodiverse, and obviously that wasn't something that you would have planned for.
Definitely not. So I grew up in a neurodiverse family.
Yes.
So it's been all I've ever known. In terms of my sibling was diagnosed very early on.
Oh, okay.
So it's my normal, and speaking about ADHD as a positive thing is my normal.
Yeah.
Whereas
so your parents were quite progressive then, because obviously, like, I don't know how old you are exactly, but it was a while ago. The landscape has changed.
The landscape has changed a lot, and it was very out there back then too. And
Yeah.
it was also very labelled the naughty boy kind
Yeah.
of diagnosis. So there was all kinds of societal stigmas that my parents had to go through. So for me, it's like I've seen that aspect of it, but I've also really, because I know the people in it so well, I really cling on to the positive strengths-based approach to neurodiversity.
Yeah, which helps your kids so much.
So much.
And how young were they diagnosed? Because I think for a lot of the listeners, it's like they might be concerned like that there's something, but are they too little, or how do you know? There's so many, especially if it's your first child. It's so it's so confusing.
It's definitely confusing. I think for me, because I knew early on what the symptoms were. I'm a teacher as well, so I knew what to look for in a kind of an academic sense. And there was this certain quirkiness. I'm speaking about my eldest here. There was a certain quirkiness that was like, it just didn't quite fit the neurotypical.
Yeah.
And
So how old was he then when you noticed?
So he would have been, because he is combined type, so would have been maybe 3 when I first started noticing. But even then, when I look back, I think he never slept.
Yeah.
And he would never stay sustained in an activity for more than 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Like he needed an adult to be there with him doing the activity and keep it going. So there were lots of signs early on. Plus, I knew that there was the genetic predisposition to it.
Yeah.
And I knew that because my husband was ADHD as well. So even though at the time I didn't know that I was ADHD, ASD, I knew he was.
Oh, you didn't know you were?
No.
So when did you found out after your son?
So I found out after, pretty sure it was either after my first or my second. Yeah, actually I think it was my second. Yeah, and then I got diagnosed then. So yeah, because I had grown up with the image of ADHD being for the energetic type, the hyperactivity, whereas because when it's an inattentive type, it's in your brain, you can't see that in other people. So I just thought everybody felt like I did.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying to you, like I think I have ADHD, but I'm not hyper, but I have like a very, very busy brain.
Yeah. So ironically, I have chronic fatigue syndrome, but I also have ADHD.
But I mean, you're tired. Yeah, you're tired because your brain never stops.
Yeah. So that diagnosis took a while, but of course, once, start going down that path of meeting with psychologists and getting more knowledgeable in it, even though I was quite knowledgeable in it, it was then that I was like, I think that's me.
Yeah. You go, and it is that dual diagnosis makes it so much more complicated because it's not like you won't fit in a box.
Don't fit in a box. None of the children fit in a box. All of us, but we'll talk about the kids here. They mask so well. They mask so well. And so then
we talk a lot about girls masking, but we don't talk about boys. Can you explain what masking means?
So masking it's essentially putting on a mask. And so the children will go to school with this mask on of, in air quotes, how to be a neurotypical. Yeah. So they hold in all of their authentic selves to get through the neurotypical setting of school, of a bus trip home, of whatever it is. And then they get home to their safe place and they take the mask off. And parents will say they lose it when they come home. They just have tantrums, or they melt down, or they, this or that. And parents can think, why do I get this worse side of my children? When it's actually the children are telling you that like feel safe with you.
Yeah. I always want to see the thing I think that's hard with that. Again, it's really hard to know because all children, or most, not all children, because some children don't mask at all and other children don't have meltdowns when they get home. But most children, that they come home from a setting and their behaviour is not great because, like you say, they're safe, and they're hungry.
Yes. Or
Because I don't feed them enough at school. Honestly, one of the things that annoys me most about my daughter's school is it said every day, every week, they write a newsletter and it says, only give them fruit as a snack. And I'm like, I'm not giving her fruit as a snack because she doesn't eat her lunch. Her lunch is tiny. And if I'm hungry and I eat a bit of fruit, it doesn't stop me from being hungry.
correct.
So she will have a snack.
Correct. And often too, like the ADD kids, if they're medicated at school, then they don't eat at school. And then when their meds wear off, which is, on the way home when they start in fights with their siblings or when they get home, their meds are run out, they're starving, they're overstimulated from the whole day, yet they're tired just because, physically they're tired. It's just this melting pot of mess.
And it's like it's really hard to know like what is like neurotypical behavior and what is like just symptoms of just like school is hard and what is neurodiverse. And that's why I think parents can feel like they don't know how to advocate for themselves because very often you're just told like, no, it's not a problem when you know it is.
Which it's important to always trust your gut. And even if you're unsure of your gut, then be curious about it because it's your gut telling you, hey, something. This is a flag, a red flag or a green flag. It's just a flag. Take note of this. And if something feels different, then it's worth exploring.
And I think so how would you say to explore? Because it's so easy to just like go on the internet and be like really stressed out by it, or just to get loads of information that isn't helpful, because there is so much unhelpful information. There's helpful information, but you've got to decipher through unhelpful information. So what would you use?
So, well, number one, definitely trust your gut. So I had one of the pediatricians tell me, just leave him alone. He's a boy. There's nothing wrong with him. And I was like, I know there's nothing wrong with him, but in order for me to support my child, this is what we're doing. This is the avenue that we're researching. So keep exploring, number one. Observe patterns, actually zoom out of the situation and observe what's going on at home, what's going on at the shopping centre, or what's going on at school, just to see if you can notice any behaviours or any triggers or any reactions, to different lights or those kinds of things. Get really curious about that. Definitely educate yourself, not necessarily Google.
No, I know that's the thing. It's like where like where do you go now? Because
I think
obviously talk to someone like you.
Yeah, well, definitely talk to people, talk to friends, family, your doctor, a psychologist, get on some of the Instagram pages, and just connect with people just to see if it kind of fits. And the one thing I will say though is if there is the twice exceptionality, then even if you find, so for example, with me, I would go to an ADHD group knowing that my children have ADHD, but still not fit in because they've got another filter, another layer of being twice exceptional. So it's not, it's not like one and done, go and check out that group or check out that label and then tick it or cross it and then move on. You've got to kind of keep exploring till something fits.
So what do you mean by twice exceptional? Because I don't think that's a term that we really use in the UK, or maybe we do and I just haven't heard it. I know what you mean. But...
Yeah, so twice exceptional is having, it sounds amazing, doesn't it? Like you're exceptional twice, but it's basically you've got two disabilities. So for example, ADHD and gifted, or ADHD and autistic. So you've got both kind of diagnosed.
Oh yeah, I don't think we use that term in England.
Yeah, so you're not just dealing with ADHD, you're dealing with ADHD and something else, or autism and something else.
Okay. And
you're trickier.
And your kids, you homeschool some of them, don't you?
Yeah, so we've only just started, so we're just week 2.
Oh, you've really just started.
Yeah. So yeah, our middle 2 are being homeschooled.
And I mean, it is you are in a slightly different position because you are a teacher. Are you both
Yes.
teachers?
Yes. No, we're
No.
not both teachers. However, there's a whole different ball game to teaching your own children.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
So that's interesting. However, what I will say, what I've observed and gotten curious about over the last 2 weeks is them within themselves, how they feel as a human being.
Okay.
All the school is very executive functioning loaded. Where's your bag? Get your shoes and socks on, right? Get to this class, that class. Have you got your books, your pencils, your lunchbox? Where's your hat? There's just it's so heavily loaded in executive functioning activities. When you take away all of that, I'm like, have you got your computer? And have you got your uniform shirt on? Tick, tick, done. Right, sit down. So all the energy that they required to, find their shoes and socks and pack their lunchbox and so on, they can now focus that on learning. So everything has been more calm. Everything has been more peaceful. I'd say they're learning more because they don't have all that external noise going on.
Well, that's really interesting. Because there is so much at school, and also it's loud. I am someone who doesn't work well in an office. It really annoys me when people say, my husband was watching a program the other day about how people work less when they work from home, and it's like, no, I don't work well in an office. I can't concentrate.
Yes.
I'm not someone who gets bored being on my own. I love my own company. And obviously I speak to people a lot with work, that's the thing, like being able to see what works for me is the same as being able to see what works for your child. At school, I would have just been distracted the whole time.
And we're all just through society, through the way that it's always been, we're all funneled through the schooling system like we're all the same.
Yeah.
And we're not. And as an adult, you can quite happily sit there and go, I don't work well in an office environment. Yet when a child says, I'm feeling anxious at school, people, no, you're not. You just need to do this, this, and this. Well, why can't we stop and actually listen to what they're saying and try to assist them in being comfortable? And I get that homeschooling is absolutely not for everyone.
No.
However, if you are in a position where you can do it, it's like the more research I do into it, the more good things are coming out of it. So it's been.
I think it's great, and I think that I think that people think homeschooling like you've got to just do it all on your own, and you don't.
No.
Like it's not. It's not like there is this sort of archetype, like stereotype of like a homeschool child as like a child who doesn't know how to socialize. But especially where I live in Brighton. It's just like the southeast of England, and there's so much for parents who want to homeschool and like you're flexi schooling basically, but just not in a mainstream school. You don't have to do it all on your own, and I think that it will move more and more towards that. Like it will become more normal, and homeschooling can be done badly. Like it's not, I'm not saying that I've worked as a family worker, I've seen some really it's not homeschooling, it's neglect really, and that definitely does happen. But if you're intentionally homeschooling, that it can just be something wonderful because kids don't have to do all the crap that they don't want to do.
And also it's separating academics from social. So for ASD kids, for ADHD kids who have trouble focusing, if you put them into a school environment where they're trying to navigate academically and socially and keep all their books together, it's like it's just too much. Whereas when you can split it up and they know when I'm going somewhere for a lesson or when I'm going somewhere to interact and socialize, that's just for socializing. When I'm doing my schoolwork, it's just for academics. So I
love that because that's how I see work. Like work is not about socializing. A lot of people see work as like a social thing. But in my brain, work is work.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I don't need to do anything else when I'm at work apart from work.
Yeah. Interesting.
That is interesting, isn't it? And I've always been like that. I find it really annoying, like when people at work want me to socialize.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got my friends to socialize with. Don't need to socialise with people at work. Why? I see you all, when I used to have a full-time job, I'd be like, I see you all the time and I hardly ever get to see my friends. So
Yeah, I
why
don't
am I
want to
spending...
socialise with you.
Yeah, like you're like, it's nothing against you, but to me, in my brain, that didn't make sense to me. That I would spend more time with people at work.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there's more signs than I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very boundaried, and I always want. I think that's one of the things I am really like. Is like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you know
Why
what you
does it?
want.
I know what I want. But I think the homeschooling thing is amazing, and I would love to do like flexi schooling where my daughter was at school a couple of days and then her not at school a couple of days.
Yeah.
But I don't do it, but I think it's a lovely idea, and maybe it will be a thing. I don't know if I don't know. I've never. There's a part of me that thinks my daughter might be neurodiverse and stuff, but just she's so sensitive, like so sensitive, and we have such big meltdowns from her. And like me, she's not very good at concentrating at school. And so my answer to that is she has a tutor. Like she really loves school, but she has a tutor. And I know people think that she's a bit young to have a tutor. Like it's like, why are you worrying? She's nearly 7, but I'm like, why not? Because if there are areas that she doesn't focus on at school and I can afford to pay for her to have a tutor and she loves doing it, why wouldn't I now? And actually I had a really lovely conversation with a client I've got who is a tutor, and she was like, all these gaps that kids have at 6, 7, they never fill them. And if you can get her like fill in all those gaps now and she's enjoying it and she still loves learning, what an amazing idea. So it just like figuring out what works for my family.
But also, even if, like, let's play the what if game. If she was neurodiverse, then putting her in the school situation where she's got lots going on, the tutor is just supplementing that. Yeah. So there's less pressure on her to have to pick it all up at school, because the tutor will be there to help with that as well. So that's still supporting her to have her unique needs met at school, in life. Yeah. So it's great.
And for her, she just thinks of it as a club.
Yeah.
She likes going to clubs. It's just another club that she goes to. She's like asked me if she can go for longer.
Yeah.
Why is it so short, Mum? I was thinking, do I send her in half term? Like, she's still going to go to her tutor. She loves it. Like, I wonder if the tutor could do like a morning. Yeah, because the thing about me is I absolutely love learning now I'm an adult. Like I'm obsessed with learning, and that's because I found what excites me. Yep. Whereas when I was a kid, it probably was. I've never thought of it like that, but there was too many other distractions. Like I'm social. Like I don't like, and there are lots of things I don't like learning about that I find boring. Like if I'm interested in something, I'm interested in it.
Look, dare I say it, that's another sign in the hyper-focused nature of ADHD, where you double down on the fun stuff that you love to learn about.
Yeah.
So it's and then it's easy to do those things, whereas it's harder to do the more mundane, boring things.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's much harder. Like science, I don't care for.
Yeah.
I hate doing science, and I remember this all the time. Like, well, you are bright, like you don't concentrate, like because it's boring.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's boring. Some people love science, I don't.
Yeah, and that's why too at school, if teachers can, as much as they possibly can, let the ADD kids do their assessments on something that they're hyper focusing on, you will just get a far better engagement rate, for sure, and you'll get a far better result. They'll have far greater self-esteem. And they'll have a better relationship with the teacher, all because you've tapped into something that they are hyper focused on.
Yeah. And it's like, but when we went to school, it was like you needed to get 10 subjects. What? Like I don't get like why anyone needs 10 GCSEs. I don't know what they're called in Australia, but
and everyone's the same. You've all got to do this, and this way.
why do I need to be good at 10 different things?
Yeah.
I actually need to be good. Like, I don't think we need to specify down to one when they're that little, because who knows what you want to do. But like 5.
Yeah.
Surely 5 would be enough.
Yeah. And I think the if you do have a diagnosis, this is off on a tangent, but that's my ADD. If you do have a diagnosis, you can get, in Australia, we have IEPs or ISPs, which I think are the equivalent of the 504s. And you can get written into your plans, your education plans, for them to not do those boring subjects or those totally irrelevant subjects. So one of my children didn't have to learn French because
doesn't need to.
I love France, but my, at the time, 9-year-old.
I love France, by the way, and I wish I spoke French.
Yeah, well, yeah, totally. But my 9-year-old at the time, it was too much added stress.
Yeah.
Him to learn that, as well as all the neurotypical societal things he had to learn back then.
Yeah, and I did a Spanish GCSE, and I don't know any Spanish.
Yeah.
I probably only know what I know from going to Spain.
Yeah.
I can't get by, like, in any way. I've got a GCSE and that's it. Like, but you know, we're not going to change the system. I think that's really useful though for people to know that if you can ask if you have got older children and you have got a diagnosis, to just ask to be like opted out of certain things, because they don't need all those things.
Just reduces.
I hope that the system, like my daughter's 7, I hope the time she's 15 things have changed and they're not making them do all the things. Because although I would love my kids to learn a language, if they don't enjoy it, they don't enjoy it. And in England, we do it in a really weird way where you don't start learning a language till you're about 11, which is completely, it's so bad.
But even if you think about that though, like why does a 6-year-old need to know another language? Unless they're living in Europe and, you know, like unless they're moving between a lot of different nationalities, that's different. But, you know, like a 6-year-old's having enough trouble doing up their shoelaces and keeping their hat on their head. They don't need another language.
They don't. It's so true. And that's that whole, because when we're talking about just let go. It would be nice. Let them, like, because I think that one of the things that's been causing a problem is we've been trying to do getting her to get more organized, have like more independence, because she's getting to 7. They have to, you know, we've got to teach them independent skills, and actually that's another thing on her plate. She makes her own snack now, which she loves to do. But it's another thing, isn't it? We all know it's another thing. Like, I love to cook, but it's still another thing that I've got to do.
And ADHD kids, in terms of, you know, organisation and time management, all those executive functioning things, are 30% behind than their peers and their neurotypical peers. So if you're asking a 10-year-old to do X, Y, and Z, their capacity is actually a 7-year-old's. So it's just...
I'm in a minute. We've got going in a minute. I am going to do some research into this, because my husband, I'm going to be like bombarding him with things about me, because he gets so stressed with me about stuff like about my organisation, and like, I am not looking for your phone one more time. I am not looking for your AirPods one more time.
That is a lot of what I do, is coaching around those things, but particularly for mums, because it does fall on the mums a lot still. For running the household and making sure that the kids are all organised and everything. So I do work with a lot of mums who are doing those things and trying to come up with the systems and the processes to, you know, ensure that the child learns where to put their stuff, so therefore they're not around the house trying to find it.
And that's what we're trying to do with like snacks and things, but like water bottles is just... I actually have been thinking I want to set up another business, which is going to be like a subscription for water bottles. So once a month, parents get a new water bottle just sent to their door, because we go through so many water bottles.
Yeah. Yes, it's just a little helpful service.
Yeah. And I'm like, how? The teacher tells you to put your water bottle in the box next to the door of the classroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's making it easy. Can't blame the school for that at all.
they have the system.
Yeah, it's a good system. I should have that system, actually. I've got a cupboard for water bottle, but I'm not organised. She's not organised, so it's the two.
Yeah, and often too that happens because the parent, the ADHD parent, knows that the child has to be organised, but the ADHD parent can't teach them that because they don't know it themselves.
And also, it just takes so much extra brain power that I think other people don't realise.
Yes, the mental load of it all. It's you know, once you step out the actual detailed steps in certain, you know, mundane activities, you to tell that to an ADHD and they're like, "Oh, I'm exhausted listening to all of those steps." You know, like if you think about asking your child to go and brush their teeth, the steps involved in that. Where's the toothbrush? Do I put water on it first? How much toothpaste? Where is the toothpaste? What about, is it a cap? Is it a screw top? You know, how do I brush my teeth? Like, it's just,
honestly, this is like hitting me hard, this toothpaste thing, because so to minimize stress, my toothbrushes are kept in the kitchen. Yeah.
yes.
There's a box. That means stress. But then at bedtime, we take the toothbrushes upstairs to brush their teeth because they never remember to brush their teeth. I need to get them to brush their teeth in the like they have a bath and then, you know, it's a whole thing. I need a second toothbrushes upstairs. That's what I need. Yeah.
Well, try it.
Two more. I need more toothbrushes upstairs.
Or get them.
It's just because they've got electric toothbrushes downstairs. And, yeah. Then you can't find the toothbrush in the morning because we've left them upstairs. No. And actually, I just need second toothbrushes and they can just do electric toothbrushes in the morning and non-electric in the evening or something.
Yep. Perfect. Good solution.
Yes. I love this solution.
Yeah, and
then I'll lose the upstairs toothbrushes.
Yeah, but it's about finding these solutions. Like, who said you had to keep your toothbrushes in the bathroom?
Yeah.
You know? So being able to go, oh, stop it. I'm just going to have 2 toothbrushes. Who cares?
Yeah.
If they
because it just doesn't work for me to have to take my kids back upstairs to the bathroom to get their toothbrushes to bring them back downstairs, and then they've probably got their shoes on, and then they've got mud on the stairs, and it doesn't work.
Yep. And if the end goal is to get them to clean their teeth, who cares whether it's upstairs, downstairs, wherever, you know, you've got 4 sets of toothbrushes. Who cares?
So, okay, and if you could take anything away from this podcast, just leave your have more than one toothbrush. Definitely, everyone needs downstairs toothbrushes and also downstairs socks. A box of downstairs socks.
Yes.
I used to have that. I used to have a sock box when they were little. I used to just have a box of socks.
See, you've got your hacks right there.
Yes. Yeah. I am like, I know I have to hack things. Like my AirPods now have a, look, I'll show you actually, they're here. They've got a hook. Are they on they're not where they're meant to be. They've got a hook. So I keep my keys on a hook by the door, one of my hacks, because I used to lose my keys all the time. Then I got a hook for my AirPods to go on the key hook by the door. Are they on it though? No.
Look, work in progress. You've nailed the keys. Take the win.
Take the win. Take the win. All right, we're gonna have to go now because I have got a very busy day, as I said, which is why I was like, let them.
Let them.
Right. But it's been so lovely talking to you. And if anyone wants to find you, if anyone wants to find out more about working with you, probably me, what do we need? How can they do that?
So you can look on Instagram at The Incremental Shift or www.theincrementalshift.com. And reach out. I'd love to chat to you guys. That'd be fantastic.
All right. Thank you so much today for all your help.
Thank you.
It's been really, really insightful, actually. I didn't actually have you come on for personal reasons, but like it's always great. I always think if a guest's going to help me, then they're going to help someone else.
Yeah. We're never alone.
No. All right then. Thank you. Bye.
See ya.